I think pretty much everybody knows Grant and knows that he works at the library and speaks a whole different language that we need to learn how to use better. The incredible resource that we have. So Grant, take us there.
Cool. Thanks. I pretty much I recognize most everyone, but there's actually some that I don't. So, so just by way of introduction, I am Grant Zabriskie. I've worked as a web designer for the library for about 4.5 years. The first 2/3 of that I was just a student, but gratefully I got some pretty big, awesome opportunities as a student to make a pretty big impact, which I was grateful for. And then one day my boss decided, by spiritual revelation, it was time for his family to move to Maine. And so he did.
I'm glad I never got that.
And the guy below him, the web designer just below him, took his position, and I got to slide into that other position as a full-time designer. And I'm just so grateful. I love the library, and I believe libraries are extremely important. And the question of what libraries are becoming with this new digital age, or somewhat new digital age, it's a really intriguing question to me. And we might touch a little bit on that today. I'm one of you. I'm just one of you guys. I haven't really accomplished very many big things in my life to brag about, other than some websites I've designed. But the problem with being a designer is about 5 minutes after you've designed something, you don't like it anymore. So I don't even know if I want to show off my work.
Isn't it red there?
So this is a collaborative effort, but actually a lot of what you see is a lot of decisions that I made. I'm basically the principal designer behind this new single search box up here. So, there, I bragged. Woo. It wasn't my idea at first, but I designed it. So yeah.
It's too bad you can't like sign your name underneath.
Yeah.
Like Chris
Search watermark.
Sites by Grant.
So maybe one of my bigger bragging rights is I created the website for BYU Vocal Point, because I used to be in the group. So, so I built their website. So that's kind of a highly trafficked site.
Sing.
You're just typical of our students, by the way. We have such an amazing amount of talent and experience. It's a great group.
It is. I love this department. I'm glad to be here. So today, first off, if you saw the poster, the name of this presentation, this seminar, was Hidden Treasures Using the Library Website for Better Research, or something like that. I saw that poster today, and it just clicked that was like probably the worst name I could give this presentation. And the reason being is that your job as a designer is to make sure that nothing is hidden. So if something really is a hidden treasure, that's a problem. No matter how much of a treasure it is, if you can't find it or use it, that's a problem. So I decided to rename it The Library Loves You. Okay? And I think you'll understand why by the end. While I'm starting out, actually, I would like everyone to take one of these and pass them around. This is actually kind of a survey. I'm going to take these back from you. I don't want them to distract from what you're learning today at this seminar. So if so focus on whatever you feel like you need to write or take down. But what I'm interested in knowing is what new things have you learned from this presentation, or will you learn? Yeah, what things, by the end, what have you learned that's new to you about the library? Something that's kind of a revelation, maybe one of those hidden treasures, something you didn't realize was there that you can see will be an asset to you. Also, not just a tool or a feature, but just what did you come to know about the library that you didn't know before? Because part of my purpose in this presentation is to help you know the library better, because I believe that if you understand the library as an organization and how it works better, you'll be able to use it better. For example, how many of you have ever just felt confused using this library website? Okay. How many of you have asked yourself, am I really using is this search box really the best thing I could use to find what I'm looking for? You ever thought that before? Okay, those are common questions. Part of our job as designers is to help you feel a little bit not ask those questions, and we're working towards that. But really, a lot of it has to do with not understanding fully understanding how libraries work. My guess is that faculty are going to have a little bit of better idea of this because of the amount of time they spent using the library and how important it is to their research endeavors.
Did you say you're going to be asking for these back?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, if you really want to keep it, I don't mind. But what I want is at the end to kind of have a better idea of what was new to you guys, because this is actually kind of the first time I've done this before. And it'll be interesting to see what's kind of new to you. But really, if you feel like keeping it, I don't know. So, yes.
Confused.
Got it. So every time, yeah, confused. There we go. Thank you. So, I want to help clear some things up, and also leave you feeling like you're better prepared to do research. And I graduated from BYU with a degree in human development, so I did a lot of family studies research, wrote a lot of papers, and I've worked at a library for 4.5 years, and I'm just now feeling like I'm getting a solid understanding of how the library works.
That's depressing.
But one of my hope is that I've consolidated it down for you here in this presentation, so you can. I hope I give you 4.5 years of information in about 45 minutes here. So good. So, like any good thinker or researcher, I'm going to draw diagrams, because I love diagrams. I'm trying to decide the best place to write this. Can you guys see over here all right? Is this,
You bet.
is this clear? Okay. So we're going to start thinking, I'm going to draw a diagram here. The library is an organization. It's an entity that exists to help you get the materials you need to learn and study. That is really the #1 objective of the library. There's a bunch of other services in the library. You can study there. There's like recording racks that you can transfer CDs to, or cassette tapes to CDs and stuff. They provide a lot of useful services, but their main goal is to get you the materials that you need. So we can think of the library as this organization that sits on top of a big bucket of materials, okay? And it's kind of distinguishing where these materials exist and how you can access the ones that you need. That is what I want to clarify. So I'm splitting this big library entity, this big bucket of materials, into two. This side, we're going to have it represent stuff that the library has and thus has access to, okay? And when I say has, I mean stuff that it physically has in its possession. And we call these local holdings. Okay, so give me some examples of local holdings.
Books.
Books!
Course was
There are books.
CDs.
Books, there's CDs, there's DVDs.
Periodicals.
Yeah, there's print journals. The library has like a viola archive of all these amazingly old and cool violas. There's really old instruments. How many are familiar with special collections? Okay, so special collections is like the archive, right? There is incredible stuff in special collections, some amazing things that can really enhance your research. Stuff that has to be protected, that's why it's special. Okay, so before the dawn of the internet, this half was the library. This is what a library was. You had a cool little card catalog. How many have used the card catalog? Maybe that's not for me. Okay. I actually remember using that when I was in elementary school. Anyway, before the internet, this is what the library, all the library was. Over here, this is stuff that the library has access to, but doesn't necessarily have. Who knows what those are? What do we call those?
External holdings.
External holdings, that would make sense. Actually, the best word to describe these are databases. You've all used a database in the library before, whether or not you realize it or not. And we get complaints pretty often from people saying, oh man, I hate the way the search works. Can you make this work better? And and we go, you've left the library and you're now inside of a third-party database, and we don't have any control over that. So I'm going to draw these circles to represent databases. Databases are third-party products. Like they're made by third-party vendors. The library pays a lot of money to give you access to tons and tons of databases. Some of this information may be redundant to some of you, but a lot of it was a revelation to me and other people that I've given this test presentation to. What? These are people that have used the library for a really long time. So I'm hoping some of this is helpful. Databases. What's a good example of a database that you, in education research or whatever you're doing, that you've used before?
What about Eric at school?
Eric. You know what? I could have said, someone say Eric, because I know that's what you're going to say. Eric is probably the #1 used education-based database, and it's provided by EBSCO, which is a huge vendor that provides a lot of other databases. Any other examples?
JSTOR?
JSTOR. JSTOR is another one. Okay. Yes.
PsycInfo.
PsycInfo. Yep. So there's kind of a subset, actually a very large subset of the databases that are databases that represent journals or that hold journals and their articles. So I'm going to write journals in here, but they really are just databases, and again, they're built by third parties. This information is going to be pretty helpful to you in a minute when we talk about this search that you use when you use this box. Okay. So one thing I want to point out, little hidden treasure, is as researchers, we use a lot of the databases that dig into articles and journals, but there are a lot of databases that hold a lot of other different kinds of materials. There's images, videos. There's just a lot of different databases with a lot of different stuff. If you're trying to do a project, like an instructional design project, and you need music, there are databases that are like free music for you to use, and images and things like that. So the library loves you. And the library's paying a lot of money for you to get these databases, so use them because it loves you. I thought about asking you guys all to go, every time you felt that the library loved you, but thought it might be distracting. Not embarrassing, just distracting.
We'd be doing it all the time.
I also thought about having you go, bing, every time you got a hidden treasure. It was like, oh wow. Okay, so,
Grant,
where was I? Getting myself off track.
Melissa,
Yeah, oh yeah, Hannah.
I just wondered, so where will you put interlibrary loans?
We're going to get there,
Okay.
yes. And I hope, and probably interlibrary loan is the #1 aspect of the library that makes you feel the most loved. Okay. And so we'll talk about that. And I'm not joking, like after I'm done, I hope you're all just like crying, just wow, they love me. Anyway, so yes, we'll get there. Okay, where was I? Okay, so each of these sections,
you're going to tell us what's above the line that's not journal.
yeah, it's stuff like I said, just stuff like images and video and
Oh,
music, and there's just databases that give you access to a lot of different materials. There's one called Opposing Viewpoints. Who's used Opposing Viewpoints before? Okay, it is awesome. You find a topic, like a common one is abortion or something, and it'll give you all of these very, scholarly based supports and news articles and just a lot of things to show you what this side is saying, what this side is saying.
Could you demo that really quickly?
Yeah, definitely.
Learning
So-
styles. There.
Yeah, you bet. Okay. So down here, there's this thing called Database Finder, and we're going to talk about that in a second. But yeah, let's just go to O.
Oh, you.
Did you guys see it before me? There it is.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you weren't a student at BYU, you wouldn't have access to this site. But okay, here we go. The Occupy movement. Quick little summary so you can understand it better. Some future viewpoints. Here's academic journals, news, primary sources, magazines, references. all meant to give you a good understanding of the view of the issue as a whole and not just one side. Who thinks that's cool?
I do.
Very cool.
I don't. Is that what there?
What? I hate it. I want to be biased, just kidding. Yeah, so that's an example of database. It's not journals, or, I mean, there's some journals in there, but it's just a helpful tool. But again, a third party. That's one of our better designed databases. Not that we didn't design it, but better.
Is there a place
Usually
that
does.
kind of points out interesting third-party databases? Because you look at the list and there's just so many.
Yeah.
And most of them are very specific for, you know, oh, that's the business database, that's the law database, or whatever. And so I don't even bother looking for them. Because I already know the education databases and I wasn't aware of just interesting, newsy kinds of ones.
Yeah, you know, that's one of the difficulties with the library. There's just so much stuff because its goal is to give you access to everything possible, right? And that's where librarians are key, really, is librarians understand a lot, and getting their insights is really helpful. And they have subject guides. Who's used the subject guide? I plan to talk about that later. Okay, that can be helpful as well in picking out those resources that are the most helpful. Recommendations from the librarian themselves, understands all the material as well. That'd be what I'd say, but yeah, you just kind of have to ask because it's kind of hard to know. There's no place necessarily that does that. I think that'd be an interesting feature to have, though. Highlighted databases or something. Okay, so yeah, there was an example. So real quick, each of these sections, local holdings, databases, and then the journal of databases, each of these have their own interface, a part of the website that you can use to access them and browse them and find them. So we just looked at one. It's called the Database Finder, okay? This is the interface for databases. And I bet you can guess the name of this one. The Journal Finder. Okay. What's this one called?
Library catalog?
Yeah, okay, good. It's a catalog. This is one of the most confusing things that comes up. It's one of the most confusing points for new students especially. Okay, there's a search box up here, but there's this thing called library catalog that I remember using as a kid, and that's what I used to search the library, so should I be using that instead of this, you know, that kind of thing. And that's one thing I do want to clarify today. But these are the three interfaces that you can use to find these, and that's great. But as web designers interested in usability and such, we don't like having to make you jump around different interfaces and find them. We're a Google generation, right? We just want to find that search box and type what we were looking for and hit search and bam, there it is. Bring in what we lovingly call search. That's the name of it. Okay. So we're gonna, this is an application that we build in the library. Something you might have heard it called before is Scholar Search. You guys heard that term before? A lot of people are like, what's the difference between Scholar Search and the catalog or any of this stuff? Okay, so Search is an application that is meant to search everything. The catalog, the databases, the journals, all in one place. And we have control over the building of the interface. So we always use Harry Potter as our search term in the library. Okay, so this is Search, okay? It's much prettier, it's much more helpful. You can see if it's available or not. You can see the call numbers. There's these awesome filters. You can show just articles about Harry Potter versus books. And hopefully this is a more helpful interface than any of those other ones that you can use. So I told you that this search is everything for you, but there is actually one rather big exception. And I think, we don't bring this up all the time because it can be confusing, but it's key if you're a researcher, which you all are researchers. And that is, do you remember how I said these are third-party products? Number one, not all of them allow us to dig into what they have and pull it up for you. And number two, a lot of them aren't built very well. They're kind of buggy and slow and that kind of thing. So even if we were to pull in all the information from the databases that do allow us to search what they have, your search would take like an hour or something. It would take a really long time, which is unfortunate. So in order to overcome that, you're getting a little bit of an insider scoop here. There's this thing that, for the lack of a better term, I'm going to call it the super index. And it's a database in and of itself that has collected a lot of the materials in these databases. Mostly stuff from journals and articles, okay? From journal databases and their articles. And it's faster and just works better, and it has a lot of stuff in it, okay? So when you use this search box, just as it is by default where it says all, you're not actually searching all of this. You're searching all the library local holdings, and you're searching this super index. There's a good chance you'll find what you're looking for, I think.
Why don't you call it almost all?
Because that makes people question. We're dealing with this issue right now, actually. If you do click on the drop down, look what it says. Searches multiple databases, including the library catalog, okay? That's kind of the way we've got to deal with it at this point. So, as researchers though, you gotta have access to a lot more than just what's in this super index. So, you're gonna need to go straight to these databases. And that's going back to using librarians and talking with their professors to find out what databases, what journals are the most helpful for the topic that you're actually studying. And you'd want to go and use the database finder to find that journal and use it.
So those journal databases that are kind of difficult to get to pull up on here,
Mm-hmm.
how is it comparable to Google Scholar? Do you know?
In terms of like the amount of materials that are
That it
available?
can, yeah.
You
Would
know,
it be similar or different?
I'm not really sure. I can't really give you an exact feeling on that. But in a little bit, with time, we can talk about Google Scholar and a thing called WorldCat. And you can see how you can use those as just an enhancement to continue to find more stuff. So, yeah. So does that make sense to everyone? Another cool thing, this is a new feature, or maybe a hidden treasure, is we've actually updated our search here so that if you do put in, what's a good journal name?
Design studies.
Let's see if we
Course.
prove awesome. Oh, we don't prove awesome in that case. How about one we used last, Journal of Computer Assists. Is that right? Oh, it's not working. And he did, maybe I didn't. Maybe that's not what it's called. Okay,
What are we supposed to be seeing?
you're supposed to be, okay, so this is, oh, it is there. Oh, okay, sorry. Whoa, oh, it's a screen.
A new feature that you didn't design.
Oh my gosh. No, okay, on this screen, like, the color
Programs,
was
isn't it?
different, and so I couldn't see this. Okay, see how that has a gray background?
Yeah.
That's what we call a promoted result. And what it's doing is it's pulling up that result from the journal finder. So you don't have to go to the journal finder, you just stick it in there, and it'll pull up that thing. It'll do that for databases. It'll even do it for people in the library. I know you're all searching my name in the library. Ta-da! Okay, so that's kind of cool. You can put a lot of stuff in there, and we're going to continue to build that out. So you can put about anything you're thinking in the library, like what are library hours? You get the page that tells you when the library's open.
Thank you.
So it's not fully featured yet.
Replace the BYU operators who can answer anything.
Well, about the library. So that's pretty helpful. So if you want to get to something, you can go directly through search.
Hey Grant, I have a question for you.
Yep.
So I'm a big books on audio kind of person, and I know the library has some, but is there any kind of way to search so that you know, or maybe sign up so you know when new items are added? Because it seems like every time I want to listen to something, I have to go and look through like the whole dang catalog.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? I never know what's new and what I've already listened to, what I haven't. Is there any way to kind of know what new audiobooks have been added or new DVDs or things like that?
That's actually a question that's been coming up, like where can we give people information for where new things are added? So for like the Science and Maps area has on their website, they've included recent acquisitions where their students go and just add like every new thing they get. but not every area has a place like that. So that's kind of a question we're working with right now. I wouldn't say there is anything right now. And if it's in a database, then there really isn't anything because we're not necessarily getting a feed from the database. You'd have to go to the database and hopefully they have something to tell you what new stuff has been added there. But you're talking about physical books on tape or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, so there's an essential place for that. It'd be cool if it was. Yeah, we were thinking about that. That's a good question. Is there any other questions so far?
But if I wanted to get a list of all the audiobooks,
Uh-huh.
how would I search for that?
Okay, so this drop-down's got a bunch of materials.
Audio,
Pretty much everything in this above the line is local holdings. This is all
Okay.
local stuff. And then there's this Journal Finder, Google Scholar Journal Finder. You can search those specifically.
cool.
I actually don't know what like audio will bring up here. Let's do a test. Yeah, audio. Cassettes. Oh, they're cassette tapes. That's cool. Oh, there's a CD.
Now if we just had a player.
Yeah.
Can you check those
There's a
out? the
CD.
library?
Yeah, so it's searching everything that's audio related. And yeah, you can check them out. So you can see here it says,
That's
this
super.
one's available, 4th floor, HBO Media Center desk, and this is its number. Yeah. So one cool thing about this interface that's a little bit underused is the bookmarks feature. So I'm going to click on that and log in. You can bookmark anything that you can pull up as a result in this search interface. Okay, yeah. So these are my bookmarks. These are things that I've bookmarked before. And this is my bookmarking interface. I can actually create labels and assign them to different
So how did you get to this point?
Okay, yeah, let's go back. Okay. Oh, it took me all the way back. I'm not the principal designer of the search interface. All right, so there's this link up here for bookmarks. We're working towards getting bookmarks more around the whole site and give it a more centralized place for you to get to them. Because right now you can only get to them once you've made a search. That's not very helpful. But here's these links, add bookmark here, and you can add it, and then you can go see your bookmarks and manage them and such.
Will it save it for you? Like if you transfer to a different computer, like you did at the library, now you're at home?
Yeah, so I had to log in, so it's associated with my NetID, my account.
Okay.
And that's actually a good segue to my account. Once I logged in, I have this link up here called my account. This is where you have to go if you want to renew books and see what you've checked out. I don't have anything checked out right now. But this is kind of cool. This tells me what classes I'm in. If there's subject guides related to my class, it'll bring them up here for me. The library loves you. If you have rooms that you've reserved to study in, they'll be right there. This is your bookmarks, but they're not that's not fully featured yet. You can see what you have on hold. Now this is really cool. Database search set, super underused, definitely a hidden treasure, unfortunately. But here, let me explain that a little bit real quick, and I think you might like it. Do you remember, so you remember I said this searches a super index and local holdings, right? Another way to get into some of these databases here and get more results is if you go down, click on this drop down, you click on articles. There's this tray, we call it, that comes down. It's a search set. You see it says quick? What that refers to is a super index because it's fast. But I've got this whole list of subject-based search sets. So for example, education, right? What this is doing is it's searching a group of databases related to education that may not necessarily have stuff in the super index. But you'll notice that it'll just take a while, right?
There are no books in the library on instructional design.
No.
That's the message, that's the.
So this is searching exactly like articles about instructional design or on that keyword there in these databases. See how long that took? Your computer's not broken. It's just searching third-party databases that are slow. and take a lot of time to process. But I'm gonna get a lot more stuff this way.
Very cool.
Okay? So on that note though, as I was mentioning, those are preset search sets. You can create your own search sets. So you can come here, I've created this test set, but if I click on manage search sets, if I use Eric a lot, I didn't test this before. Oh, sorry. Okay, let's call this for structural design now. Okay, here we go. There it is, Eric, boom. I can add all the databases that I want here and save the set, and then come into your account and search on all those data, just those databases. Does that make sense? His own personalized built search for on databases.
Very cool.
That's cool.
Cool.
Ah.
Okay, so any other questions? Yeah.
That's
Before we start crying about interlibrary loans.
that's similar to the advanced search where you have like a search history of when you've combined terms and things like that, right? Can you save like your advanced search history thingies? Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, like a saved search, you can do it multiple.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not right now.
Okay.
One idea we have, I just want you guys to know, if the library website frustrates you, you'll probably won't be a student here anymore when it's as good as you want it to be. But we're a little organization here, our LIT group that works on the website that wants to circulate really quickly in a big organization that doesn't like to circulate very quickly. so we can't make changes as fast as we can think of them. But one of the things we do want to do is create a very personalized search experience. So for example, maybe one day in the future, if you came to this drop down, you get these ones would be helpful, but then you'd have like your own section which would list all of like your favorite searches or something. You know, wouldn't that'd be really cool?
But as it turns out, now you can bookmark anything that you have found in a search.
Yes,
So
that's right. So those
That's pretty
bookmarks
cool.
exist, and you'll be able to bookmark more and more things on the website. For example, right now you can't bookmark databases. You can do items, but eventually you'll be able to do that. Cool. Are you learning something?
oh yeah.
Is it kind of settling in, kind of becoming more clear? I hope so. I really hope so. Okay, cool.
The big map really helps.
This one it's pretty, isn't it? Okay, I'm afraid now I'm getting interlibrary loan. Can you guys see if I draw down here? We'll see.
You could draw over there.
Under the
Yeah,
line
okay,
here.
yeah. Okay, interlibrary loan. I'm sure I necessarily have to draw this. Okay. How many have used interlibrary loan before or realized that they've used it? Okay, that's good, that's good. So maybe this will be redundant to some degree. But here's interlibrary loan. It's a group of people in the library, it's a department in the library, whose sole job is to help you get whatever material you need, whether or not the library actually has access to it. And I love this because it tells me that our library's purpose and vision is not just to satisfy its own needs, but to literally get you anything you need. They want you to get the materials you need for free.
It's amazing.
You know, this big library Google debate, I just don't know why it's a debate, because I'm like, it's free over here, you know? Like, you want a book, you have to pay for it to Google. I know it's not yours, and you have to return it, but it's free. So anyway, ILL, they work with different libraries that have their own bucket load of materials that they sit on top of. And if you need a book that the library doesn't have, you can make a request through the interlibrary loan interface. You put the details of the book. They get that request. They work with libraries in the whole nation, across the nation. Those libraries ship the book to the library. They give it to you. And then when you're done with it, you return it. They package it up again and send it back. For free. It's amazing. The library loves you.
Now, it can be a piece of a book. It can be a chapter out of a book that you asked for.
Yeah, so if you request a chapter or an article of some kind, even if they get it physically, they scan it for you and deliver it to you electronically so you don't need to go to the library.
Dang fine.
I use that a lot. It's a really, really nice service.
Yeah.
They're usually pretty quick too.
Yeah, it really doesn't take that long. I mean, if you have a paper due tomorrow, and yeah, that won't work, but take a couple days, but that's still, it's actually rather fast. Interlibrary loan has its own interface, okay? And so you've got to come here, interlibrary loan. You have to log in again, which is unfortunate. It's a limitation of the product that we use. It's also very slow.
May grab part of the information, not all.
What?
Yeah, so we'll get to that. Yes.
I've been requesting a lot of articles in interlibrary loan lately.
Mhm.
I have like 80 requested right now, and they haven't gotten angry at me yet. I'm waiting, but
I don't know if they will. Like, they love it.
they've been very helpful so far.
They're amazing. They really are.
But whenever they came up in a search, and I pressed the interlibrary loan button, and then all the information goes in. I just press send.
Yes.
Interlibrary loan emails it to me.
So I'm gonna show you that. This is the manual way to make a request. Okay, you log into interlibrary loan, you click a book, you say this is the name of the book, this is by, blah blah blah. If you have more detailed stuff you gotta put, you can put it there, and then you hit submit request. That request will show up. We just recently redesigned this interface. It'll say stuff that's in process, meaning it's on its way, trying to get it from another library and such. Then when it's available for use, it'll either be ready for checkout, come get it at the circulation desk, or you can download it right there. Then once you've checked it out, it'll show you all the things you've checked out right here, so you keep track of that, and then with a due date, know when you need to return it. Okay, so if everyone has an account with Interlibrary Loan by virtue of being a student. That is the manual way to do things. We're going to go back though. Little Harry Potter, such a scholarly thing to search. Let's see. Oh man, everything Harry Potter is available. I need something unavailable. I feel like it is. Let's see. What's a really popular book these days? Book I've heard of. Oh man. Okay. Well, I'm not doing very well, but as you do searches, and I guarantee this, you'll see a link. It might say it's checked out, but there'll be a link that says request your interlibrary loan. Go ahead and do it, because if it's going to be a while before that book comes back, they'll still get it from another library, just so you get it faster, without complaint, without even a slight of. They won't email me back and be like, "Hey, we have this already. Just wait for it to come back." Okay. They'll get it for you, and that's really cool. So. Just use interlibrary loan a lot. Faculty, when they use interlibrary loan, their stuff they request actually gets delivered right to them by library students. For graduate students, it gets delivered to the circulation desk. But if you make a request for a book or anything that the library has through interlibrary loan, whether or not, even if it's available, they'll go get it off the shelves and bring it to the circulation desk and tell you when it's there so you can pick it up.
Pretty amazing.
Tells you, yeah.
Pretty amazing.
Okay. So, like I said, interlibrary loan, awesome.
So just to clarify, what you just said is that it doesn't even have to be interlibrary loan. For graduate students, they'll just put it there at the circulation desk for you,
Yep,
right?
yep.
But doesn't it take like 5 days?
No, not if they have it. Because they'll just go to the shelf and they'll do the work that you would have done otherwise. They'll go get it in the library, pull it off the shelf, and you just come pick it up.
So
Okay.
you don't go and
It was
are
taking,
looking
like-
around and stuff like that.
But it was taking like 2 or 3 days to do that.
With stuff that the library actually had,
Uh-huh.
that's my alarm to warn me of how much time it is. It shouldn't.
Okay.
That's interesting. They really are supposed to do that quickly.
They were
I wonder
probably
if that was just a
processing all
circumstantial
layer.
thing.
Yeah.
Tell me if that keeps happening, because I'm
8,000
curious.
of them.
Okay.
Yeah, that's interesting. But for example, I just want to show you if, oh, that's an ebook. That's not good. Oh, but that link's still there. Okay, so there's a link here when you look on the detailed view of an item, faculty/graduate delivery. That's, if you click that, you see that I'm now in interlibrary loan, and they've populated the fields for me with all the information. All I have to do is hit submit request. Cool, huh?
Very.
Yeah.
What is Cross about?
I just, my boss keeps using it as a search because it's like a really popular book. I don't know. I really don't know.
it some kind of fairy tale kind of thing?
Crossed is a dystopian novel.
Dystopian chick lit,
What is
basically.
dystopian?
Yeah, see, it's not
So
something
like
I would
Hunger
search.
Games,
It's
right?
just like-
It is.
Very similar to.
Okay, I think we have just enough time left to talk about a few other things that I hope will be helpful to you. If there aren't any other questions so far. Okay. Okay, yeah, so right here, Google Scholar and WorldCat. Okay, we've all used Google Scholar. How many have used WorldCat before? Oh, wow, okay, this is cool. All right, both Google Scholar and WorldCat are totally separate from the library. WorldCat is the world's largest catalog of books. So you can search in WorldCat and find almost anything. This is what I'm told, okay? I haven't used it very much myself. I actually just heard about this, but, okay, so 1.5 billion items. So I'm gonna put in instructional design here. See what I get. Okay, let's say that this is the book I'm looking for. If I click on this, because I am logged, not because I'm logged in, because I'm on campus, there's a link right here that says send request to Iliad Interlibrary Loan. Bam, we're back at Interlibrary Loan, and they'll bring it to the, okay, so this is cool because if they have it, they'll bring it. And if they don't have it, they'll get it from another library and get it to you. And so you don't even have to think about it.
This looks like an improved process of getting information into right here.
Uh-huh. Yeah,
They used to pull in like the title of that was it.
yeah, so there's actually quite a bit of information that it's putting in for you.
Grant, a lot of this has improved since just last year.
The interlibrary loan? In
No, the
particular?
whole interface.
Yeah, so as a library web design division, we're entering a new era of improvement. We're trying to help everyone see that we're a Facebook generation, and Facebook changes all the time, so we're okay with change. And I'm just kidding. We want to see a lot of improvements and have things keep going because the library website's been pretty stagnant for a while.
This is great because, you know, I've been researching on the book for about 2 years, and this is much easier than the interface that I had to use for that. I wish I had this.
This is actually mostly my work. Oh man, this particular application that Interlibrary runs on is literally the worst like web application I have ever used or seen in my life. And we had to do some pretty interesting stuff to get it to work like this.
How modifiable is it as you move into the future? What if the application goes away? What do you do then?
Oh yeah, we'd have to probably build our own thing. The reason we use it is because it's the only one in existence that does what it does. Yeah. Another thing the library is looking forward to is this. You know how we went to WorldCat, we did a request, and no matter whether or not the library had it or not, they're going to get it for you, right? We want to do that for everything. So we basically want to put interlibrary loan behind the scenes, kind of. And so you just have to find what you're looking for and hit the submit request button, and then you get an email that says, oh, we've got it, come to the desk and get it. Or it says, okay, we don't have this, we're using our interlibrary loan to get it, it'll take this many days. If you have a problem with that, give us a call and we'll figure out what else we can do, that kind of thing. So you don't have to actually make that decision consciously before, you just find what you want, make the request, and the library gets it for you. So we're moving in that direction.
Wow.
So can we change the button to say like, I want it, instead of submit request, like no, I'm just.
Yeah, I know.
No, actually, that's a good point. Or like, get this, or.
Give me this.
Give me, you
That's a
know?
pretty good idea.
Because submit request interlibrary loan, I think what people immediately think is, well, I don't want to interlibrary loan this, I just want to go pick it up at my local library. And they're not realizing that it is the local library first, and so if something just like, get the book, something like that.
Yeah, that's actually a good idea.
Communicate a lot better.
I was mostly just kidding, but.
Well, no, it's actually a pretty good idea, and gets at that idea that we eventually want to move away from this distinction. Is we're trying to fight for the users as opposed to building our website based off the organization of the library itself, which is what we're kind of overcoming right now.
There are some books that are actually available online that you can, how do you find just those ones that are available? How do I
Like
say it?
ebooks or?
Yeah, ebooks, yes. How, is there an index of just ebooks?
So that's another thing we're working on to make more clear, because people are really interested in ebooks. Right here, there's a link for ebooks, and what this does is it actually takes you to a guide. Oh, a really ugly one with about 1 billion tabs, but there's. Sorry, my feelings are coming up. These are all databases that give you access to ebooks. So all the library's ebooks are accessible through databases that have ebooks. And Dr. Rich is a big proponent of, which one's that specific one? The Safari? Yeah, Safari Tech books. Like if you're trying to learn any kind of technology, you can find a book on it for free. And it's pretty cool.
Good.
But right now, this is basically the place where you show the databases.
So if you picked Gutenberg, where would you go? What would you get, a list of all the Gutenberg books?
You go to the Gutenberg database
Okay,
and then have to work with it there.
good.
Yeah.
This is so cool, all this stuff.
So same thing with Google Scholar. If you're like logged in to Google Scholar and you find an article, you may have done this before. It says like find at BYU or something. You click that link and it takes you to the journal finder and says we've got this print or we've got it in this database over here. And that's pretty cool. So that's one way to start your search. Is just kind of start from the outside, and the library tries to bring you into that way.
So like, when I've written papers in the past, I haven't wanted to deal with local holdings at all. I've just wanted to do purely online. Like if it's not online in a database somewhere, I don't want to have to deal with that. But it looks like I could get just about anything with not very much hassle. Like I don't have to be so afraid of local holdings or of whatever. Like this is the message I'm getting from all this.
Yeah, and what we try to do is consolidate things. So if something's available digitally as well as physically, when you do a search for it, you'll see that. It'll say like available online, or it'll also say we also have a physical copy here. So I would just start out looking for what you're looking for, and then make the decision about whether you're looking for a physical one or a digital one after that.
So Google Books, they have a way, well, not just, they sell their stuff, but different companies will rent a book to you, for an extended period of time.
Right.
Have you guys thought about that? I mean, 'cause right now you only have, I don't know, sometimes there will be 4 of one book or 1. But if you thought about digitalizing the books that you have, and instead of renting them out, they'd be checked out digitally. Have you thought about
Interesting. I haven't heard anything about that. That decision would kind of be outside of my realm, but it sounds like very interesting. I could look for that and suggest that. So being able to get it digitally for a certain amount of time, you're saying?
Checked out to you digitally. And if you designed something, like if you took that idea, because so far the digital books, the ebooks that are online, the interface isn't designed very well.
Yeah, they try to hold the ebook within the interface. They don't give you like the ebook to take with you because it's a database and it's proprietary and you only get it through the library. So what you're kind of saying is being able to kind of feel like you've taken it and it's yours for a period of time. Maybe being able to put it on your Kindle or something.
Yeah, there are a lot of different ways that you can go about it.
Yeah, there isn't really anything exactly like that right now. Actually, you know what? I take that back. In the media center, you can get books for your Kindle. Hope I'm not lying to you, but I'm pretty sure I've heard that before. That's interesting. Who knows the media center? You know the media center? Up on the 4th floor. Videos, CDs, ebooks. Okay, that's good. So lastly, I think my last point or idea I wanted to share with you guys, because we're coming to an end here, is it's just the idea of librarians. How many of you have ever sat down with a librarian and the librarian asked them questions? Okay, so very few, and that's common. The librarians literally just are dying for you to come make an appointment with them, or call them, or email them, or even just knock on their door and say, I'm a graduate student, I'm studying this, I'm not sure I'm using the right databases, I'm also looking for certain books on this topic. and they will put their arm around your shoulder and they'll be like, ding, 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 and they'll show you exactly what you need. That's really cool. It's the human side of the library, and it's not used that much because it's kind of, you know, oh, I don't want to go talk to some human. I'd rather just use the website. But seriously, it really is probably the best way to get personalized help, so I would not use it.
And you can verify this, but I think a lot of those are folks who actually have PhDs in a certain subject area, and so they're actually specialized librarians in that area with PhDs, so they understand the type of research they do. Is that correct?
That is exactly correct. In fact, they're faculty,
Yeah.
so they're required to publish. So they're very much, they know their stuff. Yeah. But as a way to reach out through the website, they've created subject guides. Subject guides there's all sorts of stuff. Here's education. This is a third-party product that is.
Is there one for instructional technology?
There isn't one specifically, but if a librarian feels a need, like if she's getting enough requests and is kind of saying, the groups suggesting the same databases and stuff, they'll create one. So it's kind of based on how much need they perceive. But this is Rachel Wadham, about the funnest lady you'll ever meet. And she's set this up. Of course, there's Eric and stuff. She's got a whole tab here just for graduate students, stuff that she feels like graduate students would be most interested in education. So this can be also very helpful to help you find resources, recommended resources. So use the subject guides and the librarians behind them. Are there any other questions?
This is not really related, but did you do the hug the library thing? I think it was last year when everybody like held hands around the library and hugged it. I think you would have liked that.
I actually wasn't there. But we do every year, we have Love the Library. But I think they need to change it to Love the Library because the library loves you. Because I think a lot of students are like, why do I need to love the library? But yeah, they really did. They reached around the entire library, like literally held hands. So you guys know this? All the way around the library, and then when they were all blinked, they were like hugging the library. So that's fun. The library's got awesome exhibits. It's got films. How many have seen a movie in the library? Okay, so a lot of these older films are like the actual film strips, like the original film strips. I mean, it's kind of the same movie, but you're still like, wow, I'm actually watching this from the real film strip. That's kind of cool. Special Collections has got a bunch of stuff. It's just a great place. Do you guys feel more loved?
We've got a class coming in 2 minutes.
Well, we're done. So thank you guys I hope this was helpful. And I appreciate
Thank
it.
you, Grant. I encourage everybody to pack up as quickly as you can.